I want to talk to you today about the skin, our outer brain. I run the Center for Neurodermatology here in Tampa, Florida. Very interested in talking to you about what I do, my projects, my research, and what you can learn from all of this. Here at our center, we investigate the interactions between the brain and the skin. We work with such disorders as Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, autism, melanoma, neurodermatitis, and other neurocutaneous diseases. What is our goal here? It is to do translation of skin-brain research into effective behavioral strategies that prevent disease, promote healing, and provide treatments, and enhance the well-being across the lifespan. In one of my previous books, The Blue Man, it is described on the cover that Robert Norman does for the skin what Oliver Sacks did for the brain. That's an amazing compliment. And I have tried over the years to emulate Dr. Sacks and his neurological prowess, but also the relationship between the skin and the brain and dermatology, and multiple stories that patients have told me have been illuminated in my previous books. Right now, my upcoming book is called The Skin, Our Outer Brain, The Power of the Skin-Brain Connection. And this is the first of the lectures that I'm presenting on this subject. Here's a simple diagram of the normal skin structure. It indicates that essentially the major cell types that are normally found in each compartment of the skin within the epidermis, the dermis, and the subcutaneous tissue. And this is illustrated in this picture. You can see at the bottom here of this layer the melanocytes. That's where we'll talk later on in future lectures about the melanocytes and the rise of melanoma, and how that's related to what we're discussing as far as the skin-brain connection. So the key issue is, why is the skin so connected to the nervous system? What does it have in common? It arises from the outermost layer of the three embryonic cell layers, the ectoderm, which is the general surface covering of the embryonic body. If you think back to your embryology, those of you who studied it, you remember there's the ectoderm, the mesoderm, and the endoderm. And we look at these various layers, you see the endoderm, the thyroid cells, digestive cells, and then the mesoderm, the cardiac muscles, skeletal muscles, the red blood cells, all the way to the ectoderm, shown here on the slide. So you can see that the ectoderm is the epidermis skin cells, the neurons of the brain, and the pigment cells, as I mentioned before, the melanocytes. So this led me over the years to try to study more about the connection between the skin and the brain, and also the fact that we have relatively easy access to the brain itself via the skin, given the same embryological layer of the ectoderm. So the rest of the surface covering, after the differentiation of the brain, the spinal cord, and other parts of the central nervous system, becomes the skin and its derivatives. The central nervous system's main function is to keep the organism informed of what is going on outside of it. The ectoderm gives rise to the sense organs of smell, taste, hearing, vision, and touch, everything involved with what goes on outside. And when you look at this photo, you see what everything has in common: layers and parts of the skin. When we look at the brain itself, we see the areas where smell, hearing, touch, taste, and vision primarily occur and are processed. And here's a little fancier picture with the smell, touch, taste, vision, and hearing noted. One might consider the nervous system a buried part of the skin, and the skin might be regarded as the external nervous system, thus the outer brain. These two organ systems begin an intimate association and remain interconnected throughout life. Frederick Wood Jones, he was an early 20th century English anatomist. He put it, "He is the wise physician and philosopher who realizes that in regarding the external appearance of his fellow men, he is studying the external nervous system and not merely the skin and its appendages." In review, what are our key questions going forward? Number one, why is the skin so connected to the nervous system? I've touched on this briefly and will expand on this over the next lectures. How do neurological and psychosomatic disorders show up on the skin? And is there new research involving detection of neurological disease using biomarkers and skin biopsies and oral swabs? My next talk on the brain-skin connection will be on touch. Stay tuned and you will learn even more. Thank you.